Yeah, well, no, yeah, on a no, yeah.
Hello, this is Ryan Riccitelli with ASNews.net, and today we have an update from Matt Nuzzo. He's one of the co-founders and owners of Real Kiteboarding, and they got a great event going on down there. It's called the Real Kiteboarding Triple S Invitational. They got all the top riders in the world flying in to just tear it up on those rails. So why don't you give everyone a heads up on what's going on down there, Matt?
Sure, man. The Invitational has just been going off. Triple S stands, for those that don't know, Triple S stands for Surf, Sliders, and Slicks. And so we've got, like Ryan said, there's some of the top pros out here. We got, Slezak, Dre, Susie May, Moy, Shannon Best, Greg Norman, Andy Herdman, a bunch of other notables out here riding. We also have on the shooting end of it, we've got John Bilderback and Alexis Bilderback, Brian Casario, and Buster Tronalone. And we're going to be putting together the event's pretty unique in the sense that it's based off of who gets the best footage and photos. So that's who the winner of the event's going to be, and the conditions have been outrageous.
So how are you guys going to be posting that? Is it just for riders to judge, or is you going to invite the public to come and check out all this stuff, or how's that all going to go down?
The public's been invited all week. We've been going since last Friday, and basically every morning Tripp puts the riding report on his cell phone, gives them the update, and basically we've been announcing it every morning in the shops, and basically where the conditions are best, that's where we're riding. We didn't want to have kind of like a bandstand style event that was going to be just focused on one location. So we got permitted to teach in a bunch of different sound and ocean locations, and it's just been going off, man. We've had Great Southwest right at the Slick, been having all the rails set up, the Red Bull Fun Box, John Wayne Cancer Foundation A-frame, the Triple S slider, the Death Star, and it's just been, everyone's been sessioning the hell out of those. We've had some we brought the Porter Kicker out to to Kite Point on a nice northeast day, and today they're riding, doing a Planet of the Apes downwinder, and then going down to the south side to hit some waves this afternoon.
Well, and obviously you got a lot of hot guys there riding, and I'm sure you have some girls as well that are just killing it. Mm-hmm. Who's like the people that are really shining, I guess?
Oh man, it's so hard. It's so hard to tell because with having all the top riders here, you basically one guy or girl is going to have their day, and and then the next day they're going to drop their kite 5 times in a row. So I mean, everyone has really shined at one particular time or the other. I mean, I was up kiting in the Slick the other day with Susie, and I saw her eat shit 5 times in a row. That I wouldn't have taken one of those hits. She pulls in her bar, gets back up, keeps throwing down the trick, and 6 times she lands a trick. I was totally impressed. I mean, same thing with all the, a lot of the other guys too. Everyone's been just having standout moments. Sleazy and Sammy were just destroying the dock slider right in front of Reel last night. Just all sorts of nose press to 540, spinning off of it, all sorts of stuff. Dre was just cranking down the wall of the Red Bull slider, just like super styled out. I mean, everyone's just been really standing out. Herdman's been just going ballistic with his crazy maneuvers. So it's just been really cool to see everyone's kind of stepping up and having a great session.
Are there any new riders that are coming up in the scene that maybe making a name for themselves at your event?
Not really. I mean, this is an invitational. We wanted to bring, basically the premise of the invitational is to bring all the top riders that made the Real Kiteboarding Slider Park what it is today. And so we know there's a couple newbies in there, but a lot of the people that are here and that could make it, that weren't injured, really they love coming back to Hatteras. We get great conditions here, and they've been just really influential in helping develop the rails and really putting their 2 cents into making the slider park what it is today. So it's just been really cool to kind of see everyone come out and be totally stoked and really motivated to get some kiteboarding in.
Well, and a lot of our listeners, they've heard of Real Kiteboarding, and you can find out more about Real Kiteboarding at realkiteboarding.com. But these guys, basically, they've built an incredible rail park. I mean, it is, the thing is worth, how much money do you think your rail park's worth?
Oh, dude, I was just actually looking through your magazine where you priced out each thing, and I almost had a heart attack just looking at the total nut on each one of those sliders. I'm not going to put a number on it because anyone that knows anything about business would tell us we're idiots, but it's a hell of a lot of fun to hit.
Well, and with that said, for those of you who are interested about the Real Kiteboarding Rail Park, I mean, you can go there and you can actually take lessons with the top pros. You can, I don't know how it works for just anyone who wants to ride it, but I mean, this thing is amazing, and we did a whole feature on it where we did all the specs, and we've got quotes from the riders. So if you're interested in learning more about this, just go to our webpage, thekiteboarder.com, and pull up one of the older PDFs. I think it was like 3 issues ago.
Yeah, yep.
And you can basically see what's going down. But these guys have seriously paved the way for the future in rails. And I mean, what's it like trying to just get the permits for that kind of stuff?
Well, that was the battle, you know. I mean, you'd figure, it's just, just going to put some floats out in the water. But, to keep all the neighbors happy and make sure we're doing things according to the appropriate maritime laws, we had to go through a lot of hoops, get basically coastal marine permits, all sorts of different stuff with the Coast Guard, making sure it all works, and and so our neighbors have been super cool. The local people have been really supporting us, building out the slider park and bringing in a new, just a new feature, new item to Hatteras Island. So it's been a lot of work, and give big props to my partner Trip Foreman for making all that happen. He's been doing a lot of politicking. I'm telling him he should run for mayor one of these days, but been doing a lot of politicking, making sure that we can get the park set up and all the boys and girls can get out there and have a good time.
Well, you guys are doing a great job, and I'm real glad to have you on to asnews.net. And I know that I've been calling Trip's line basically to get the update every day. Where can people learn more about this that are maybe not obviously going to be able to attend, maybe online or somewhere? Yeah,
after the event's over, we're going to have a full-on web story online. So we're going to have a ton of pictures, bunch of video clips as well. The one of the premises of this event is that we're making the 5th and final of our instructional DVD series called the Triple S DVD. It's going to be a 30-minute action DVD followed up by 30 minutes of instruction, and that will round out the rest of our instructional DVD series. That's based off of our instructional DVD series. You can get that. That DVD will probably come out just around Christmas time at realkiteboarding.com. Releasing this month, later this month, is going to be the Joyride instructional DVD, and then by September we're going to have the Surf instructional DVD out. So check those out online. I also want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Real Kiteboarding, Red Bull, John Wayne Cancer Foundation, and Outer Beaches Realty for making this a great event.
Hey, I got a quick little inside note. What's the response to Sleazy J's new pro model board, the Liquid Force Mission?
Well, I got to tell you, I 2 of them came in for him, and I stole one of them, and I've been a happy camper since I got it. That's definitely the best Liquid Force board that has come out to date. It's really sleazy work with Jimmy Redmond. Not only does it look badass with the finish, the graphics, the bunch of different stuff going on the top, but the bottom of the board is unlike anything you've ever seen out in kiteboarding. The one I've been riding is a 138. It's got a double concave, single concave in the middle, double concave off the tail. Rides super fast, goes up wind killer. The landings are, all I got to say is it's got envious landings. When you land on that thing, it's just so smooth. I'm so psyched for Sleazy because he and Jimmy really nailed it with this board, and it's gonna change a lot of people's minds about how kiteboards are supposed to be made.
Hey, I got a sidebar note that I'm sure a lot of listeners would be interested in. Is what kind of kites are these guys riding? Are they on more of the flat kites, or are they staying with the C's?
I've kind of seen a mixed bag of stuff out there. A bunch of people are definitely riding the, still riding C kites. A bunch of guys and girls are riding the flat kites. It's kind of, everyone kind of has their own opinion. But what I've seen is everyone's really open-minded to all the different styles of kites, and a lot of the pros are open-minded to different style of kites. And what I've personally seen is they're riding different equipment for different type of conditions and different riding locations. So, again, it's kind of when you look at it, it doesn't seem like there's any dominant force. It's basically every session that I've seen has been half bow kites, half flat kites, half C kites. There's, like I was saying, there's no one person that's ripping it harder on one kite or another. Everyone kind of is just trading off sessions where it gets out there and just is destroying it. And then sometimes people are having a tough day, can't keep their kite in their hands, can't get their maneuvers down. But overall, just the riding level just is really stepping up with this event.
Well, Matt, I know you're busy. You got a lot going on there. Give us a heads up on what else you guys are doing this summer.
Yeah, man. Thanks to Kiteboarder Mag and asnews.net, and we appreciate all the support. We'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, I know, yeah.
Hello, this is Ryan Riccitelli with asnews.net, and I have Kirsty Jones, who's a professional kiteboarder, and she is in the Canary Islands right now training in a place called Lanzarote. I think I probably pronounced it right. But anyway, why don't you introduce yourself, Kirsty, and give our listeners a little bit about your background.
Hello, my name is Kirsty Jones, and I'm currently here in Lanzarote. It's a very, very, very windy day. And I spend a couple of the months of my year out in Lanzarote training. I've got a house out here, so I try and spend a bit of time here. And then when I'm not away doing other competitions and travel trips, I'm home in Wales, in the UK. My background comes from windsurfing, surfing, sailing, and for the last 4 years I've been a professional kite surfer as well.
Well, and why don't you give our listeners a little bit of, information on Lanzarote and where you're at, because I've seen some photos and the place just looks incredible.
Well, the Canary Islands are pretty cool. They kind of say it's like the Hawaiian Islands of the Atlantic, and it gets like really, really good wind most of the year round, apart from in the winter when the wind isn't quite as consistent, but it gets really good waves. So it's kind of the perfect spot for me because I love surfing as well. So when there's no wind, I go surfing. When there's wind, I go kite surfing here. And it's about 150 miles off the coast of Morocco, and I think there's about 5 islands. And it's about 500 miles up from the Cape Verde Islands, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard of. So it's kind of situated in a good spot, and it's kind of warm water all year round, and good weather all year round. So it's perfect, and it's only 4-hour plane journey from the UK, so it's great for me to be able to kind of pop over here.
Well, and where do you do most of your training? And I guess why don't you talk a little bit about like your background and like how long you've been kiteboarding and the evolution to where you've gotten to.
Well, I've been windsurfing and surfing were always my main passion, and to be honest, I never really thought I would be a kite surfer. I remember seeing it out in Maui for the first time, and I remember actually thinking, oh my gosh, that looks kind of a bit gay, because when they used to come in and into the kite beach in Maui and do all this like handlepass stuff, on the water, and I remember thinking, oh my god, I never want to do that. And then I remember seeing someone out the back wave riding and getting these enormous jumps, and that's when I thought, oh wow, actually that is a pretty cool sport. So I kind of said to myself, right, a friend taught me, and I said, right, okay, I'm going to give it a go, just see if I like it. And of course, I absolutely loved it, because, after the first day, I was up and going on a board. So it was like, wow. And then the second day, I was trying to jump, so it was like, that's how I got into kite surfing. And I still surf a lot and do some surf competitions. But now I'd like to focus on the wave riding side of kite surfing more. Maybe do some of the KPWT Wave Masters, and just do kind of discover new wave riding spots and sort of undiscovered places and things like that.
Well, and so you're really focused on the wave riding, and why don't you talk a little bit about the equipment that you ride?
Well, I ride Flexifoil. I just got my set of Flexifoil irons, which are absolutely fantastic, and have just kind of transformed wave riding for me, especially here in the Canaries when you do get very gusty, strong winds. So for wave riding, the irons have just transformed some spots that would normally be quite gusty and dangerous into like super good spots. I also ride stretch boards from the US, and I've got just a custom twin tip as well, a Waves custom twin tip. So that's the equipment I use. I've used Escort wetsuits and surfboards, and also Darkine harnesses and accessories.
Well, and that's one thing you talked about, the surfing, and you're from Wales, and how did you get into surfing?
I got into surfing kind of through windsurfing. I used to work in teach windsurfing and sailing in a small water sports centre in Wales, and there was a really good surf spot just across the road, so I'd go surfing there after work, and kind of that turned into one of my biggest passions as well. And then I went and did a couple of surf trips when I was like 17, 18, Ireland. So that's how I got into surfing, really.
And who's the crew that you usually ride with? Like, what are the, some of the names of the people, the professional people you train with?
I mean, I've done a lot of trips with, I don't know, Jo Wilson, who's on the PKRA. He's doing really well. I've done quite a lot of trips with her. Neil Hilder, I've had some amazing trips with him as well. One trip in Yemen. And I used to kite quite a lot with Aaron before he went off around the world doing stuff. That was my first kind of year of kite surfing. I kited with Aaron Hadler and Ben Hambry. And now I mainly do trips with my boyfriend Richard Budia, who also does photography, so that's quite good. And what else? And that's about it. And when I'm in Wales, a lot of the time I'm kite surfing by myself, because there's not that many kite surfers yet in Wales. I mean, there's the guys from Postcall and Pembrokeshire who I kite with, but sometimes I'm by myself, which is quite cool.
Well, and what's that like? You're a woman in the sport, and what's it like being a woman in pretty much a man's sport?
Well, I think kitesurfing, it seems there's so many women getting into it and doing it now, so it doesn't actually feel that male-dominated kitesurfing. I mean, it's great. I've got a lot of friends, girlfriends who kitesurf, and I know loads of girls who want to get into it. So it doesn't actually feel like it's kind of male, dominated.
No, I agree, and that's why I bring that up, because there is a big influx of women getting into the sport, and then that's why I brought you on the show, because a lot of women, they see this sport and they're very intimidated by it, and so it's nice to hear, your perspective on that. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, it's not like, you certainly don't need strength, or it's all about, control and what you put into it. It's not about, everyone knows that, I guess, don't they? Who does it? It's not about... Yeah, so I think it's great. It's a brilliant sport for women, and I think they could probably get to the same kind of level on some aspects as men.
Well, and you've been competing, and why don't you talk a little bit about the competition side of the sport?
The competition side of things, I started competing actually in my first couple of months when I started kite surfing. I did the British tour, and I won. I became British champion at the end of my first year kite surfing, and then I went on to do. I have to think now. And then I did a long-distance crossing, which is something I'd wanted to do windsurfing for quite a long time. But I did it kite surfing in the end. I was the first person to kite surf from Ireland to Wales non-stop, and I did that solo and raised money for charity. And then I did my first PKRA competition in Belgium, and that was pretty cool, because I wasn't expecting to come kind of like last, and I came second. So that was a bit of an eye-opener for me. And I remember being in a heat with Cindy Mosey at the end in the final, thinking, "What am I doing? How did I get here?" And then after that, I did in Dominican Republic. I did a Master of the Ocean competition, which was like a combined wind, surf, and kite competition, and I won that as well, which I was very pleased about. This is horrible telling about all these things that I've. When you talk about
You're just a vain little kiteboarder, aren't you? Just telling me about all these contests you won.
And one more, I did the PKRA Waves Championships in Brazil, and I won that as well. So it's like talk about everything I've lost now.
Well, that's awesome, though. I mean, it's great to see, because you are living a lifestyle that many people would dream to live. You're traveling to places, you're meeting all kinds of new people, and you're getting to do what you love. And, what's it like being in that position?
It's just amazing, It's I couldn't ask for a better life, and this is just what if I'd thought that I would be doing this when I was 16, wow, I would never have believed it. But I certainly would have. It was my biggest dream to do this. So it's amazing.
Well, let's switch gears a little bit. I know that you just finished another crossing, and why don't you talk a little bit about that?
A couple of days ago, or last weekend, I kite surfed from the Canary Islands to a little village in the Western Sahara in Morocco, and I broke the kite surfing world distance record from land to land, which I was very pleased about. It wasn't actually looking like a very good forecast for that weekend, so I was actually quite doubtful about even getting halfway. But as we got kind of hit a couple of hours off the coast of the Canaries, the wind actually started picking up and up, which it was kind of difficult to start off with, because I was going on a downwind run, But then I started heading further up the coast of Morocco, and then changed tacks, and then came downwind, and actually came into the village exactly where I wanted to come in, where we've been raising money for a charity from this village, and we set up a small kite surfing and surfing club, windsurfing club there. So it was actually perfect. I couldn't have, it was the exact route that I would have wanted to have done. So yeah, that was great, and it took me 9 hours non-stop, which was pretty tiring. And every hour was different. Actually, it was quite eventful. At the beginning I saw a huge fin, which I thought was a shark, obviously, because it didn't look like a dolphin fin, which turned out to actually be pilot whales. And then I had flying fish jumping over my board, and dolphins and gannets. It was pretty incredible, and I'm very pleased that I managed to do it.
What was the distance, the actual total distance?
So it was 140 miles, which is in kilometers. I think it's 225 kilometers. But my main thing was, because I know someone has done, in the US, someone has done, was it 150 miles?
Yeah, actually, I don't know the exact mileage, but it's my good friend, and I'm going to have to call him up.
Oh, really? Actually, I've been speaking to him on email the last couple of days. But yeah, so I mean, he did an incredible distance. So what I was aiming to do was to do it, because I know nobody's done it land to land, that distance before. So that was my aim, to leave off the beach in Lanzarote and arrive on the beach in Morocco, which incredibly I managed to do, because actually a lot of the time the wind can drop dramatically off the coast of Morocco, because I've attempted it before during a race. So I was thinking, God, I'm going to get 8 hours and the wind drops, and then I don't do what I do all that distance and don't actually end up on the beach. So, but I was so pleased the wind just kept going all the way. So it was great.
Well, that's great, and it sounds like you gave some money to charity, or raised some money for charity with the event. And the one thing that a lot of people don't realize is, and we were talking about it earlier, there's a big disconnect from the U.S. and Europe, and believe it or not, this audio podcast goes out around the world. We have over 86 countries downloading this, so
that's amazing, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are listening to this, and that's what we want to try and do, is kind of try and bring the global kiteboarding community together.
That's great,
and so I just want to say thanks for coming onto the show and giving us a chance to pick your brain. And I'd like to give you a chance to throw some shouts out to your sponsors and your friends out there.
Oh, great, that would be fantastic. Well, I just want to say a massive thank you to all my sponsors, which are Animal, Flexifoil, Escort, Darkine, and also the support crew who helped me on my crossing, and all my friends and family for supporting me, and and thanks, because I couldn't do this without all my sponsors. I'm living the dream, and I just want to encourage everyone else to follow their dreams and go out there and do what they love doing.
Well, thanks a lot for coming on the show, and we'll definitely send you a link to this audio podcast, and hopefully we can get you on here soon.
Great, excellent. Really nice talking to you, and hopefully see you in the US sometime soon.
That would be great.
Thanks.
All right, bye-bye.